Information just keeps coming out from Giants about Farm Sim 22 this week. I thought we were done with the major announcement of production yesterday. Then today we had the drop about the collector's edition. I thought we were done, but no. Now we have a drop with more information about Elm Creek. So we've already shown you 3 images from Elm Creek on Wednesday. We've got 3 more to show you. Now, these are not high-res images like the first 3 I had on Wednesday, but I did grab the images that I did get from Giants. So we are going to take a look at that, but we're not going to be able to zoom in and really look at the images really close like we've done in other deep dive videos. And we're also then going to take a look at the PDA that is shown in the collector's edition image. It looks a lot like what Giants describes here in this blog post as being Elm Creek. But I don't think we are seeing the full PDA in the collector's edition image. And I'm going to explain that here a little bit later. So let's read the blog post. Farm Sim 22 will feature 2 brand new maps as well as an updated Erlengrad. So this is kind of like Farm Sim 19, where we had an upgraded Estancia La Pacha, and then we had Felsburn and Ravenport. So this blog post is going to focus on Elm Creek. And they do list that the map is still in development, so we only get a little glimpse of Elm Creek. Now, in the first image they show us, we see that the map is fairly flat off in the distance. We've got a field that is kind of circled by some trees. We've got a silo complex. We've got a nice old looking wooden barn there in the right of center. And then we've got a farmhouse or just a regular house there to the left of center. And then what looks like a dirt road kind of curving off into the distance. Now this is one of the images that I do not have a high-res picture of, so we're really not going to be able to zoom in on other things. They go on to say that Elm Creek is inspired by the U.S. Midwest region and offers large fields and vast open space to build your own farms on. I tell you, that will be appreciated because Ravenport really was not set up to build your own farm. The starting farm location was not flat in any way. We all know trying to place things on not flat land is just not going to work out for you. And there's just really not a lot of spaces on Ravenport to build out a farm. So it's really nice to see that they are thinking about that with this particular map in mind. We're going for an out-of-town charm with Elm Creek. So a fairly rural area around the map. They go on to say that there will be rivers cleaving their way through the terrain, underpasses in the hilly areas, and a waterfall, as well as a proper highway, just like in the US. Now the next image we've already seen a high-res picture of. That is the baseball stadium at Elmwood for the Elmwood Wolves. Then we move on to another image. Now this one we're going to come back to when we look at the PDA. We've got a road, we've got a river running underneath it, and then we've got kind of a building complex just past the river. Looking at here, we see we have 2 entrances, or an entrance and an exit into the building area, and then off a little bit further, we have another road or something basically joining the main road here, a little bit removed from those 2 areas. So we're going to take a look now at a zoomed in picture of the PDA that is shown on the collector's edition, and I'm going to show you where I think this particular area is on that PDA and why I really feel that that PDA, while it may represent a portion of Elm Creek, it is not the entire Elm Creek map. So here I've got the PDA image on the collector's edition photo zoomed way in. I mean, we're like 650% zoom on this. Down in the lower right, we have a copy of that image I just talked about. Now, right in the middle of this PDA image, we see a river cutting through the map. We see a road going over the river. And then we see a big building complex or something, and we see two entrances. And then off in the little distance, we see a third entrance and then kind of a road sweeping around. I think that right there in the middle is this picture that we're looking at. So the reason I think this is a zoomed in image on the PDA, and that is what's been put there as the poster image, is that is taking a significant portion of the map. Now, if we think about the areas that we have seen images of, where could the baseball stadium be? Where could the gas station be? And the cornflake factory? Looking at this zoomed in PDA, I really can't place any of those given the scale of that center building area and the PDA itself. Now, let's take a look at the first image in this blog post and try to place this on the PDA. I've had a really hard time. I haven't been able to really pinpoint it. So, as I've said, we've got a field that seems to be surrounded, for the most part, by a forest. We've got a road here that is cutting through some tree areas, and it curves off into the distance. Now, down here toward the bottom of the image, it looks like it stops. Maybe it's a drive, and maybe it loops around here, and we see it kind of coming around the other side of the barn. But either rate, we've got trees on either side of the road, and the road is curving off in the distance. We've got the field with trees on either side with the buildings. Looking at the PDA, I have not been able to place a field with trees on either side that also has a road with trees on either side, and the road is curving away. Given the scale of the previous image and how much of the PDA it is taking up, I would really expect to have seen the house, the barn, and the silo reflected on the PDA beside a field that has trees around it and a road curving off in the distance. I don't think that screenshot is reflected in this PDA image. Again, a sign that this is a zoomed in image. We're going to take one more look at this PDA. This time we're zoomed in 800%. Let's go back to the top of this blog post. It says, Elm Creek is set in an out-of-town charm. Okay, so it's rural. It goes on to say that there's rivers cleaving their way through the terrain, underpasses in hilly areas, a waterfall, and a proper highway like in the U.S. So I'm going to take that as meaning a divided highway. So if we look toward the top of this image, we have two lines running fairly parallel to each other, implying a divided highway. Now if we look to the top right, as best I can tell, these are on-ramps to get onto the highway. These are not off-ramps, so these are on-ramps. So if they are on-ramps, I don't know where you're going if you're going to get on the rightmost road there, because you're going to get on an interstate right at the map edge. Now, in theory, the other side, you could get on the interstate there, because it looks like you could go over the interstate on the bridge that is to the left of the image. And then you would have to drive across the map just below those fields in order to get to that big area that is marked out there kind of in the top right of the map. Now, if we look at that bridge area, that overpass, it looks like we have proper on and off ramps. I mean, they are taking a significant portion of the PDA to be on and off ramps. And if you get on the interstate up there in the top lane, okay, going to your left, again, where are you going? Because that is right at the edge of the PDA. So either the interstate is not usable by the player, or again, this is a sign that this is a zoomed in image at only a portion of the Elm Creek PDA. Or it could be just a completely fake picture. But we do have an interstate. We do have a river cleaving through the map. I don't really know where the waterfall might be unless it's down here in the absolute bottom left of this PDA image. But I really think this is a zoomed in image of Elm Creek. Only time will tell at this point. Now we've got just one more image we're going to take a look at here. And again, Giants did not provide me with a high resolution version of this. So this is kind of a screen snip of the information I did get early from Giants. And we really can't use this image to pinpoint anything on the PDA. We're not really getting enough information. We've got lots of roads. We've got lots of areas where fields are divided by roads. So I really can't figure out where this is. But look, we've got power lines on the map. Thank God we have power lines on an American map from Giants. Congratulations. All right, guys, so that is going to do us for today's video. Let me know in the comments, what do you think of the images that we have seen from Elm Creek so far? The high-res images that we saw on Wednesday, and I throw them in this video also, and then the new images from the blog post today. And until next time, happy farming.